let's move on now to the next half of this evening. Every year, Business Today, as part of its most comprehensive reportage on policy and industry, evaluates the work done by the soldiers of India Inc., the CEOs of companies who are constantly and tirelessly working to innovate, build, and create. Well, they are the risk takers and the trendsetters. Each year, it's a fairly daunting exercise for us to pick the winners across hundreds of companies. To tell us more about this exercise, we have Josie here with us. And can I also invite Mr. Deepak Kapoor, Chairman, PwC India. They gave us knowledge support during this exercise on stage, please. So since putting this issue together was a very long, drawn-out process, we want to make sure that you understand how did we arrive at the winners, and that's why we have Deepak and Josie here with us. Josie, let me begin with you. Can you just take us through the entire process, the entire thought process that went into putting this list together?
So there are several best CEO studies out there, and most of them either rely on heavy quantitative analysis or are CEOs picked up by a bunch of editors in the newsroom. We were very clear that we didn't want to do this. We wanted a mix of two because, a CEO can deliver numbers but be a complete disaster for the company in the long term. So there are softer sides to a CEO. We were very clear that we wanted to bring these things together, and we decided to work on a model which I'll talk in a little bit, but we were clear that that's the way we wanted to differentiate our study versus others.
Right. Deepak, tell us about the role of PwC in this entire exercise and how difficult was it, to go through that entire data. And like Josie said, CEOs can deliver the numbers, but then is it only a numbers game?
For the opportunity. Second time in this year. Josie was kind enough to also engage us with the Emerging Companies Awards earlier this year. So thank you very much.
The best out there.
No, I think it was a very enriching experience, Shweta, if you ask me, and I think Josie is absolutely right. Selection of a CEO is a very difficult task, and the people who were nominated for this, I mean, each one of them was a jewel in himself or herself, and it did go beyond numbers, and I'm sure once you get to the awards function, you'll actually realize that how complex it was. Very enriching experience for us.
Deepak, tell us a little bit about the context out there and what are CEOs telling you in terms of the business environment out there, what they find most difficult, what are they doing?
Yeah, okay. So let me start with some of the challenges which came out in a PwC annual survey which we did. So the top concern which the CEOs had, Josie, was bribery and corruption, right? And the second top one after that, and which the panel did talk a few minutes earlier, was a shortage of skilled resources. And then there were 3 or 4 other challenges which were mentioned in no particular order, which were increase in raw material cost and the energy cost, also increase in tax and regulatory cost, weak infrastructure, and also something which came in was frequent policy changes. At the same time, not having regularity in decision-making process from the government and authorities. But let me just put a caveat here, and I think the panel did so eloquently talked about that, and that is that the CEOs also felt that despite all these challenges, which are all real, and we have to face them, but then there is in India a huge amount of opportunity with the demographics and the 600 million emerging middle class and all those things, as you mentioned. And I think the smarter of the CEOs, right, and we had Malvinder speak to you as to how he saw things differently. I think smarter of the CEOs do actually have ways out of this environment and perform well. So, and the fact that we are having these awards here for the best CEO is a testament to that.
Right. Some amazing numbers actually when we come to it.
Right. Deepak, could you tell us how has the role of a CEO evolved over the years? You know, because like you said, that corruption was number one in the minds of CEOs, and you need to be, I think, as a professional, you need to be thinking differently. You need to be thinking very out of the box when it comes to dealing with such a volatile policy scenario. So could you just maybe draw an analogy or something to explain the difference?
Yeah, okay. So I think there have to be a few enablers from the environment point of view. And the panel again did speak about that. And I think Malvinder did talk about those 4 things. So let me concentrate to answer your question on what a CEO could possibly do. And by the way, this also came out in the survey which PwC did. So very simplistically speaking, the first one was that you have to stay course. You have to be absolutely focused within this environment to do. Do not necessarily have too many initiatives which you start within the company. Stay course, focus on a few of those, and then relentlessly work for those. The other one which came in was customer focus. And we have all heard the old dictum saying customer is king and things like that. But I think CEOs of today realize that the customer is changing. The profile of customer is changing. And you have to be conscious of that as a CEO and constantly innovate to match up to the demands of that customer. And of course, the third one I would put as, in environment of this type, continue to work on operational efficiencies within the corporate groups or the companies.
Did innovation figure anywhere in the list?
Oh yeah, I think innovation, as I said, in customers' case, it came in. Even when you talk about operational efficiencies and working on those, a whole lot of innovation is needed. I think India has championed that course by outsourcing and stuff. And Chandra is here, so he knows it better than anybody else. So I think continuous innovation is something which came up in the discussions very, very regularly. And the last, but not the least, if I may say, is that you have to also strengthen the bridge between business and society. Now, apart from helping society, it also helps you build the brand, which is a necessity at this point of time.
Right. Any final takeaway from this entire exercise that you'd like to share with the audiences?
No, I think we love this exercise, and thank you very much for the opportunity. And that's it.
Thanks, Vibhu. And just very quickly to wrap up how we did it very simply. We had 3 numbers that we looked at, 3 metrics, growth in your business. So like what Deepak talked about, how to sustainably grow your business. So it's not enough just you grow the top line, but how are you growing your profits? So that was 1. 2 that we looked at was, of course, the recognition of market cap. This was done on the study of BT 500 companies. BT 500 are India's top 500 most valuable companies listed on the stock market. So we looked at how your market cap moved, because the markets kind of reward if you do your business well. And third one was return on capital. So these are the 3 metrics that we took. We got a score out there. We took it to a fairly high-powered jury run by K.V. Kamath, chairman of ICICI Bank. And they kind of looked at the softer aspects of the company and the CEO, and that's how we kind of came to our list. We have a list of 100 top CEOs in the country in the magazine that will be listed later today. It's a listing, it's not a ranking. I just want to emphasize that. It's a listing, it's not a ranking. So just take a look at that later this evening.
Right. Thank you very much, Josie. Thanks, Deepak.
Thank you.